Welcome to the Inside NDU podcast. Thanks for joining us in our first episode. Here's what to expect from this new production. We're going to be giving you exclusive behind-the-scene content of everything related to NDU, from its journey to its accreditation, to campus life, and everything in between, straight from our university's experts. Faculty, staff, and students will be featured on this pod to give you every single detail you need to know about our community and our lovely campuses. Before she was the director of the Office of Admissions here at NDU, she was a marketing lecturer at the FBE, the Faculty of Business Administration and Economics. And now she uses her skill set in order to help students find their path and their future. So please welcome with me, Ms. Joyce Menassa. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
As the director of the Office of Admissions, you spend a lot of time interacting with prospective students. Does it ever become monotonous, or does each generation have something new to give?
Well, it's not really monotonous because I get to meet with different students in different schools from all across Lebanon with different backgrounds. So it's actually quite enjoyable. I look forward to the day when I'm going out to visit students. They are different. Some of them have had more orientations. Others are not aware of what they want to do. So really, it's not monotonous. It's quite exciting.
Well, in that case, I'm going to ask you about me, if you remember me.
Not really. I mean, your face is familiar, but I'm not really sure.
Well, you're the reason why I changed my whole path in life. I wanted, first of all, to be part of the Faculty of Humanities here at NDU. I wanted to major in radio and television, but I was also lost because I wanted to also major in business.
Okay.
And back then, I was opting for a double major at the same time.
Okay.
And you guided me through this way before I even applied to NDU. You told me that going with a double major with two different paths is something huge, and I might reconsider what I really want.
And you did.
I did, of course,
That's
because of you. And even when I applied to NDU, you were the one who helped me throughout all the process with the admissions and with my exams and with everything. And that's why it meant a lot to me to have a family here at NDU and to feel welcomed. And it's all because of you. So
Of course
you do
you
have
are.
a huge impact on students. So thank you for this.
I'm glad I could help.
How do you approach students who are unsure about what major to choose? Like, how do you give them the right guidance to find their North Star?
So, in some schools, students are very well prepared. So there are guidance counselors who are well trained, who can guide them properly, and they sort of have a preference for one thing over the other. In other cases, students are completely unaware of what they want to do. And in such cases, we usually invite them to visit the university. The entire Office of Admissions team has received training on career guidance. So we administer a personality test, and depending on the student's personality type, which is, I mean, it's never 100% accurate, but we have
You can have an idea.
some sort
at
of a
least.
direction
Yes.
as to which careers would be suitable for their personality types. And we just go from there.
That's cool. I'm not going to ask about how accurate is that, but like, how many paths did you change throughout your career?
I would say quite a bit. So a lot of times we have students who come in because they want to do or pursue a major that their parents want them to pursue.
We have a lot of that case in
Yeah,
Lebanon, yes.
some of them, they just go for a major because all of their friends are doing that major.
As well.
So normally what we do is we ask them a few questions with regards to what they would like to do with their life, where do they see themselves, do they like an office job, do they prefer to be on the streets, the kinds of skills they have, if they're artistic or not, and then we administer the personality test, and then, we guide them. There are a lot of students who actually changed.
Well, basically, students, when they apply to universities, they're usually around 17 or 18 by age. And I think, even it was a personal experience, it's a huge decision to make. You're basically planning your whole life at that age and at that moment. How can you be so sure that we're choosing the right path?
Well, you can never be sure. Now, normally what we do is, ahead of time, we invite them to sessions called Meet the Expert. They are online sessions where we present all of the majors that we have. The presentations are done by experts in the field. They explain to students what the major is all about, the types of careers they can have, reimbursement, the pros, the cons, everything is covered. In addition to that, we invite them to shadow courses. So they can come to university, They can attend courses along with our students. They can see what the courses are about, ask questions to the faculty members. They can ask their peers or other students sitting in class what they think about the major, again, if it's hard, not hard. And then they determine if this is what they want to be doing. Not to forget that the internship opportunities, they're open to all students, not just to a student who is in their senior year. So at any point in time, they can intern within that major, preferably be within the first year. And then if they want to change their mind, they can still do so.
Do you have a specific method regarding someone wanting to foster their talent that you would approach them with?
Normally, what we do is when they're trying to choose a major, we tell them to take into account 4 things. First, the major should be something that they love.
Of course.
Because no matter how good they are at something, if they don't like it, they'll not be able to work in it. Second thing we tell them is to pick a major or a career to which they have the skills, the required skills. If they have the skills that are needed, then they can succeed. Then we tell them to make sure it pays. In other words, that they can find jobs, because the job market these days is very volatile. So we need to make sure that they can find work, because ultimately they need to make a living. And finally, we tell them that it should meet with their values, so what they want to achieve on the long run. And basically, this is the best way for them to determine if this is the major or the right path. Or
a lot of majors rise and falls in terms of the trendiness due to the socioeconomic sphere and job markets that evolve over time. So can we really talk about trends that are actually occurring right now in jobs and in majors?
Well, there are a lot of trends. So, for example, a lot of students are now asking for physiotherapy. Apparently, they feel that it's an interesting field. Some students ask for health communications, which is, again, another area of major importance, because nowadays you need to be able to communicate with, with people, what are the health risks, and you should know how to do it properly, especially with the pandemic and with everything that's going around. So there are a lot of majors. There's petroleum engineering, which is in Lebanon supposed to grow. So there is a lot that is going on. Now, we try to guide students in the right direction. We try to find out what are the majors they're interested in. And normally we do this through collecting data. So all students that we meet, they normally provide us with information on their majors of preference. And the Career Center also communicate with companies. So they know what are the jobs that are needed. And we try to estimate for the future what is going to be required. The majors that we have, we try to promote them as much as possible, knowing that students will be able to find work in them, provided, of course, they like it. And the majors that are, not so well known, again, we also try to shed light on them.
Similarly, some applicants might be adults, whether they have a bachelor's or a master's degree in the first place from another university, or they were just unable to pursue their higher education for any sort of reason. What would you say to adults who are hesitant to return to university, or whether it's because of stigma or their older age or pressure from parents or anything?
To me, I feel that education is a person's best asset. So to me, your degree is the most important asset you have. And I strongly encourage people to pursue higher education, because especially if you're working in a company, you will ultimately be asked what is your highest degree. And I think everybody has the opportunity and the potential to pursue higher studies. Now, what we need to do is, for those that are older adults already working, we need to emphasize the fact that graduate courses are in the afternoon. Each course is only once a week. They have the capacity to study at their own pace. They can take whatever load they want. They do not need to register for 3 courses. They can take 1 course at a time, no matter how long it takes. Ultimately, the benefit outweighs the effort that is put in, because ultimately it will allow them for promotions, it will allow them for a lot of other things.
Yes. You talked about opportunity. Do you think everybody has the same opportunity when it comes to time and money if they're willing to actually pursue their higher education?
So we have payment facilities usually for students. Although we do not have financial aid at the graduate level, we do have payment facilities. And depending on each individual, we guide them and we support them and we tell them how many courses to take, how the payments would be. So yes, I believe everybody is able to get an education. And we have a lifelong learning center we also support students there. So they may not want to go for a graduate study, so for a master's degree, but if they just want to get a certificate, they want to expand their knowledge or their know-how in a particular
They have the
field,
opportunity to do
they
so.
can pick a course, they can pick a program, they can take a workshop, and all of this is actually, beneficial for them, and it does support them.
When it comes to admission, as
Yeah.
your part as a job,
Yeah.
you've seen a huge change when
Yeah.
it comes to majors, when it comes to education, when it comes to
True.
plenty of things. So, do you think that the standards you used to work on changed?
Okay. No, the standards are still the same. We do not compromise our standards. What we're doing is we are reaching out to students in a different way.
Yeah.
So we are now relying on technology. We're relying on communication tools that were not being used in the past. And we're doing this for the sake of reaching out to those students. So we now have more interactive communications with
Yeah.
the students, whether via email or via WhatsApp. We have
Or the
huge
meetings, the teams?
databases. Yeah.
What do you think gives NDU an advantage over other universities in Lebanon?
As you said before, we are student-centered. I do not know of any university where a student gets the same attention that we give to our students. So I'm not trying
I
to
can agree on
advertise.
that.
But we
Person.
really do follow up. So the
Yes.
student receives whatever support they need from the day they apply, throughout the application process, the entrance exams, the registration process. We really are extremely student-centric,
Yes.
and I think this is our advantage.
What is something that you and or your team do to streamline the process of going through the application form?
So our applications are all online. And whenever a student has or requires information on how to apply and documents they need, we can share those via WhatsApp if they need it, or via email, or sometimes we guide them over the phone. Some students don't want to fill out the application at home. They can come and fill it out on campus, online, but on campus with guidance from us.
They guided throughout all the process.
Yeah, we facilitate everything. So documents can be sent by email initially so that we may process their files. And then later on, before registration, they send them to us in hard copy. So we really do follow up on a student to make sure that they know what is missing, they know what is needed. And if they need any help, we provide it.
Schools tend to focus on academic standing in order to move on to the next grade, which is understandable. But are grades really everything? Do they really determine our future?
They're not everything, but they are the basis for admission. So whenever we want to accept students into the university, we usually rely on the grades of grade 10 and 11 in S1 and S2. We rely on those grades because we need a basis. We need to calculate a composite score. We need to see if a student will or will not succeed in their major of choice. So we do rely on the grades of school, namely, again, grade 10, grade 11, along with the math entrance exam or the SAT, the math for SAT. We do need those because we want to see if a student can or can succeed comfortably in a major or not. So it is important to do well in school. However, somebody that is average in school, it doesn't mean they're going to be average at university. They can be average in school because they're studying topics that they're not really interested in. However, when they join the university, they are studying their major of choice, something that they are passionate about, and usually that means that they do much better.
Students who feel that if their grades do not necessarily present their capabilities and intelligence, especially those with learning difficulties such as ADHD, do you think that they have the same fairness that other people deserve?
Yes, they do. So let me explain. At NDU, we have an office called the LAS, so Learning Accommodation Services. We promote this whenever we go to schools. We promote also the IDEAL program, which is a certificate program. Now, the LAS, it's an office. It's located on campus. It's under the SAO, which is the Student Affairs Office. What they do is, whenever we get an applicant who tells us that they require support, either because they have ADD or ADHD or any learning difficulty, normally we refer them to LAS. They submit their updated report. The office conducts an assessment, and then accordingly, we provide the student with accommodation from the day they're doing their entrance exam all the way until they graduate. So what the office does is they follow up with the student, and they communicate with the faculty members. So this is part of the accommodation which is given to those students to enable them to graduate at the same pace, at the same speed as everybody else. And believe me, they are doing great with the constant follow-up, with all of the services offered, with all the accommodations offered.
It's amazing to have such an opportunity here at NDU.
I
Once students are admitted to the university, what can they expect from not only the majors that they're going to enroll in, but also from the life on campus?
Oh, we have amazing life. So I am an NDU graduate. So I was among
Really?
those who
I didn't know this.
graduated. I'm the first promotion to graduate from NDU. And since then until now, except for the COVID period,
Yes.
university life is beautiful. So we have a lot of activities on campus. We have sports competitions. We have club activities. We have
A lot of celebrations.
yes, absolutely. Founders Day is
It was an amazing event.
yeah, it's really good. We had a huge turnout this year. So we have a lot of activities that take place on campus, and the student can feel really, really involved.
To wrap everything up, since we've come to our last question, what message would you like to give students listening right now who are lost when it comes to choosing university or committing to a specific major?
Well, I would say that they have to conduct a bit of research. They have to decide deep down what it is that they like and that they love, not what peer pressure or parent pressure, not to undermine the influence of parents. Parents
Yes.
know what their kids are capable of, but they should not feel that they are obligated to go in a particular direction because their friends are doing that or because their parents want them to do that. And then they should research those majors, look at the courses, look at how long the program is, and then determine if this is the right thing for them. This
Yes.
is my advice.
Well, I'm speechless. I don't know what to say. You had a huge impact on me personally, and also, I'm sure, on plenty of students and coming students to the university. I thank you so much because you're the reason why we pursue what we love, and we're sure that at some point, doesn't matter when in life, we're going to become something. So thank you for the right guidance. Thank you for coming here today. Thank you for being part of our podcast, especially on our first episode. So thank you, Ms. Joyce Menassa, for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
With this, our first episode comes to an end, and we'll be seeing you on the next one.